Welcome back, guys, to SLTV Star Series Season 11. This is our last best of one for today. Invictus Gaming versus LGD Gaming for the Chinese group stage portion of the competition. I'm Basskip here on Dota Starladder _EN for providing coverage on behalf of Beyond the Summit. It's great to be joining all of you guys today. And let's get ourselves underway. Invictus Gaming, they need this win. They are 1-3 at this stage in the group, and even a 4-3 record may not be enough to secure them a top 4 finish. Meanwhile, for LGD, they're currently 3-1, having only dropped a game to Vici Gaming, who are sitting at the very top of the pops, 6-1, and guaranteed to make it through. So we'll see if IG can find some form and might be able to start clawing their way back into this competition, or if LGD are going to keep on cruising despite the minor hiccup against Vici. In terms of our draft so far today, we've seen a lot of priority placed on the Ember Spirit, 3 picks, and now a ban in this match. Ogre and Skywrath Mage, both very familiar faces, are going to be returning to the scene for this one, as we continue the theme of aggressive roaming supports. Tidehunter and Bat both going to be banned from IG, heroes that we did actually see in our previous match, Immortal Magneto versus Lai. And let's see where the draft now takes us. There's still a Death Prophet available in the pool, there's still a Jakiro, there's still an ET, and honestly at this stage there are just too many heroes to list that are worth considering. Probably expect to see more teams begin to pick up Broodmother over the course of the next couple of weeks. So we might see her popularity wax and wane as we go, as teams come up with counterplay, and we see that dynamic shift. But for now, LGD going to stick to tried and true staples. Just going to go for the Skywrath Mage Centaur Warrunner combo. And Centaur, a hero that we haven't actually seen tonight, but still a hero that we do see quite a lot of, I think, in particular in the Eastern scene. Don't know if we saw too much of him over the course of the Summit too, but he's still always lurking around there, waiting for the Skywrath Centaur combo or the Centaur Invoker combo, something along those lines. Invictus Gaming going to stick to their guns, still removing this Morphling a heck of a lot, and that Jakiro that I mentioned is going to end up in the hands of IG. Could end up being an offlaner, could end up being a support. Not 100% sure what we're going to be seeing here from them. I'm leaning towards a support, but they have been running pretty... teams in general in the East at the moment seem to be running pretty aggressive roaming support, so Jakiro doesn't necessarily 100% fit into that mold, so we'll see where we end up. As always, teams are still keeping in mind this Centaur Invoker combo, which I just mentioned, so Invoker's going to be banned out in the second phase. The Death Prophet, as I mentioned, managed to squeak through into this game, or at least into the second round of bans, so LGD going to deal with that right now, as it does look like Invictus Gaming are considering a fairly push-heavy strategy, especially with this Jakiro pickup, so we'll see what ends up happening. An anti-mage ban is actually going to lead us straight into a Medusa pickup here for LGD. I guess they're feeling confident that IG have already got their 2 supports in the Ogre and the Jakiro, and that we likely won't be seeing a Nyx Assassin out of them, or if we do see a Nyx Assassin, that'll have to be wedged somewhat into the lineup. So we'll see how that ends up going. Medusa, a hero that we have been seeing from time to time. Team Secret has been known to pick it up. And honestly, I think a hero that is worth a look in the current meta. We've got some more staples making their way through, as Lycan is going to be snagged up. Not actually too many teams running him at the moment. I would say EG is the one that's really still sticking to the Lycan pick and making it work. So we'll see if Invictus Gaming can do the same here. Obvious reason for the pick. Can pick up a Necrobook, not too bad against the Medusa, at least in that regard, so we'll see how he ends up doing this game. I think so long as the Centaur gets off to a pretty good start, LGD are looking alright, but IG, this isn't an all-in push strategy by any stretch of the imagination. They can still take this a little bit later on. They can still, wait around past 30, 40 minutes and still have a very reasonable chance of winning the game, assuming things are still fairly even. But they do have a little bit of a fire lit under them now, as LGD do end up picking up the Elder Titan as well, and pushing into ET Medusa in the later stages of the game is going to be a chore. So we'll see what ends up happening. I think the I wonder what exactly LGD are going to be doing with the lanes. I was about to say that I think the Elder Titan is going to be on support, but that might not necessarily be true. We do see from time to time teams running the Centaur down on the safe lane, trying to prioritize his Blink Dagger up as quickly as possible, so could see something like that. And while LGD did lock the Centaur in pretty early this game, and there wasn't really the opportunity to see the Lycan pick, something like Axe could have actually still worked wonders for them this game, or at least in place of that Centaur. Put him down in the safe lane, get up the fast blink, hound the Lycan, make life very difficult for him, drop ET Spirits on top of his head, but I think the Centaur should be able to do the same just fine. Medusa not really a traditional mid lane hero, but if IG are considering running the Lycan on mid, as I think they might, with Ferrari 430 handling it, then I think the Medusa should actually do okay. Personally, I'm a really big fan of actually maxing out the Mystic Snake early on in the game, and against a melee laner like the Lycan, it could actually work very nicely. Medusa's got more laning presence than I think people really give her credit for. But anyway, as we move a little bit further on into this draft, Invictus Gaming are going to sit around scratching their heads somewhat, thinking about what they're going to end up going for here. Pushing again into the ET Centaur Warrunner is going to be tough. So we'll see if they stick to their guns or if they're going to try and branch out a little bit. And, well, it looks like the answer is going to be the latter, as they snag themselves a Weaver. A hero that we talked about a little bit in the previous game, as it was grabbed up by Immortal Magneto. Does go pretty nicely with the Lycan. Having those attack damage buffs to go along with Geminate is always really nice. Though it does slow down the overall timing of their lineup pretty substantially. He is an evasive hero, and that is going to make life a little bit more difficult for Centaur and Skywrath Mage to try and lock him down and deal with him in these fights, but I think it just ensures LGD a little bit of extra time to get that Blink Dagger, to get the core farm on the Medusa, so we'll see what ends up happening. The one big problem, of course, with Medusa is that if you can deal with her entire team, then it's often very easy to come back to the Medusa last and kill her off. So you need to get the right balance of survivability and damage, and I'm kind of hoping to see something Kuro-esque out of the Medusa this game. Maybe your Treads Yasha into Scotty BKB. You definitely want to have probably a BKB up around the same time that the Lycan is hitting his Necro 3 timing, if he's going to end up going for a Necro 3. So that is something that Medusa is going to have to begrudgingly build this game, more than likely, but what have we got? Doom banned out, Storm Spirit moved. I think Storm would have been a tiny bit greedy for LGD, but they do realize that the one kind of hole in their lineup is they don't have all too much lockdown for these very mobile heroes. Centaur Stomp takes a little while to go off. As much as Ancient Seal is great, it's pretty much their only way to keep people locked down. And, well, LGD, that's going to help fix that problem right up, as they do end up grabbing themselves a puck to finish up the draft. Really nice to have Coil to go along with the Stone Gaze, keep people trapped in position. Assassin. You've also got a captive audience for potential ET Earth Splitters and whatnot. But Invictus Gaming, their response is actually going to be to pick up a Templar Assassin. LGD, not a whole lot to deal with this. Well, not a whole lot to deal with the Refraction and the Templar Assassin in general. So it's a pick that's looking pretty well positioned, but that is going to bump the Weaver into what is looking like a 3 spot this game. Some teams do occasionally run Lycan on the off lane from time to time. I think the old DK used to do that, but I don't know if that's necessarily on the cards here. We'll have to see. The one good thing that IG do have going for them is that they've got the Lycan, who, if he starts off on the safe lane, can just pick up his Vlads pretty quickly and make his way over into the jungle, or even go into the jungle earlier than that. And that can free up a lane for the Weaver to either get some recovery farm, or the Jakira and the Ogre can get even further ahead. So they do have the opportunity, I think, to make this relatively greedy lineup work. And we'll see how it ends up going. They are over on the Dire, so the Templar Assassin is going to add that extra oomph to their Roshan attempt. So definitely looking at them trying to exploit that as much as possible throughout this game. But guys, it's great to welcome you back here for Starladder Series 11, last best of 1 for our Chinese group stages for the day, IG versus LGD. And just a reminder to everybody as to where we stand. It's an 8-team group, and only the top 4 teams will advance. IG currently sitting at 1 and 3, LGD much more comfortable, currently 3 and 1. So We'll see which team is going to continue to progress as we make our way through here. June over on IG, making his way down on what is looking like an off-lane Jakiro. Just going to jam a ward right into this camp. Not even all the way at the back. Looks like he does still have rune vision, however, so keeping the pull-through blocked out. Meanwhile, on the rest of IG, we have Ferrari 430 heading towards mid on the Templar Assassin. We've got Luo or C on what is looking like a jungle Lycan. Burning is on the safe lane Weaver, getting his items delivered right this second. And finally, we have Chizbug on the Ogre. For those of you wondering where Chuan is at, he's actually heading off to the Red Bull LAN, which is happening in a couple of days in Seattle. So Burning is standing in for the team for at least I think the group stage portion of Starladder. Meanwhile on LGD, Faith support Elder Titan, Yao, off-lane Puck. Mid is going to end up being that Sylar Medusa. Meanwhile in July is going to be handling your safe lane Centaur, and finally MMY on the support Skywrath Mage. So it does end up being the mid Medusa as I talked about. I don't know how difficult this matchup is going to be against the Templar Assassin. If she can get some Mystic Snakes down while Refraction is off, then I think that's okay. And this is actually maybe one situation where the new split shot is worse than the old one, because before Medusa could have just picked up a value point in split shot and used that to be able to chew through Ferrari's Refraction without actually having to target him. But now, given that it only has 2 targets at level 1, Ferrari's actually going to be much happier with his Refraction charges. And Sylar's going to have to make a much more substantial investment if he wants to really get too much value out of burning through those charges. So that is going to be a little bit tough. MMY only rocking the single pack of Tangos, so it is going to be tough for him to zone out this Jakiro on the bottom lane. But I like the way that LGD are running this. They're prioritizing the Centaur Warrunner Blink and giving themselves the opportunity to get pickoffs and defend. In one sense, they need to try and find some pickoffs because I'd like to punish this fairly greedy IG lineup, but also they need the Blink Dagger at the ready in case IG managed to start getting some momentum going and start knocking down some towers with the Lycan and the Jakiro. So, see how things go. Also, the Medusa is typically going to take a little while to farm up, so definitely need a little bit of help from that. Faith comes in, throws out some punches, Burning, also copping some harassment here. Going to jump in from Meow. No point in the silence, but the Spirit is just going to be enough. Faith draws a very easy first blood. No Shikuchi was available, it seems, for Burning there, or even if he got into it, it didn't really end up mattering. Tower dive, tier 1, easy kill, and a very nice easy start here for LGD. Lycan still jungling away, but I don't know. Luo has been so insistent on picking himself junglers in the recent games where they've had Burning on the team, and the one game where it worked out, he picked himself Chen, and they punished an extremely greedy lineup. But outside of that, I just haven't really been seeing it doing a whole lot. And his build as well, just trying to get through the jungle as quickly as possible. No point in the how, so normally when you have a Lycan on your team, you're getting a little bit of extra help on your other lanes, you know, especially for this Templar Assassin and for the Weaver, but it's going to take him a little bit longer, and the ET Spirit Scout's about, can it kill him? Oh no, it's not high enough level. Okay, crisis averted. Luo actually pretty greedily is going to go back in for this Mud Golem, but he's okay, he's got his stat shield. Faith actually almost found that kill, cursing the fact that he's not level 3. And Lycan just going to take a dive to some neutral creeps as he gets the reset back to the well. Ferrari comes in, driving Sylar back on this mid lane. As expected, doing pretty well, 12 and 7 up against the 8 and 1 Medusa. And oh, June getting jumped on bottom lane. Concussive shot slow comes out. They've got the stomp. The Jakiro, however, still pretty tanky. No ice path. Out comes the dual breath. But the double edge along with the arcane bolt finished that kill. Meanwhile on top lane, Yao pressured back underneath the tower, but a short jaunt away is going to keep him just fine. And he's still got a couple of tangos remaining to bring himself back up to health. So looks like he's going to be okay. Phase Boot's coming up before too long, so he can keep plinking away at Burning. And B-God, well, he's doing okay. 12 and 1 the CS after that somewhat unfortunate first blood. And actually, big dive from Ferrari on mid. He wants Sylar here. The Looper and the trees continue waiting for the Meld Strike, but the shield comes up. Looks like he might end up trading his life away. MMY runs in just at the very end. Picks up a very fast level 4 for himself. So I think actually that one works out a bit better for LGD. They've now got a very highly leveled Skywrath Mage cruising around the map, ready to potentially get some more ganks off on this Weaver. And you may even see some Yao in some trouble. Gonna jaunt himself back. Nice stomp from Faith, opening up some space. Chizbug does still have a stun and an ignite, so he's actually just gonna go straight in here. Faith wanted Yao to back him up. There's actually an orb coming out in just a second. Yao, a couple more auto attacks thrown out. We've got the Skywrath Mage making his way up. Concussive shot secures the last hit there on the Ogre. And that's a killing spree secured for MMY. Support for support trade, but more gold lining the pockets of this Skywrath. And meanwhile, bottom lane, well, Jakiro is still getting absolutely nothing. He's got 1 CS, as In July continues to give him a very hard time. Tranquil Boots and 800 gold already picked up on the Centaur. And things looking good for LGD out of the gate. Net worth and experience, both a slight lead in their favor. They are still doing okay overall. So what else do we have going on? Luo's still jungling, almost has his level 6. Is in fact on top of the net worth right now, so doing okay with that one. And as much as his lanes are falling a little bit behind out of this early game, it is worth keeping in mind that he can go and get a quick Roshan for somebody and help drag them back into the game. So as much as the Jakiro's farm is a little bit worrying at the moment, they've still got some semblance of a comeback mechanic in that. MMY looks like he's going to scout out Chizbug here off to the side. He's got a single tango to try and juke his way through. Not going to go for it, and now he might be in some trouble. Ice Path comes out. 2-man stomp from In July, but the burn damage is still enough to find the kill. And In July not willing to use the double edge lest he risk his own life as well. So IG striking back, making some early rotations on this Ogre Mega, and that's going to pick up his Observer Ward. That's going to pick up the next set of Observer Wards for him. Luo actually going to pop off the Lycan ultimate here. Charging through, looking for Faith. The Swarm comes out. Yao drops the silence. Going to do his best he can to force them back, but it's not going to work out. Meanwhile, on bottom lane, Stampede is used, and they find another kill on this Jakiro. So overall trade ends up being, well, fight recap not really showing everything that happened there. So we'll rely on the graphs, and it does show that IG, these pickoffs are starting to pick up some pace and starting to grab some items here and there. Luo's got his treads, and In July is still a little ways away from securing this Blink Dagger. Meanwhile, mid lane, things started to even up a little bit, though Ferrari is once again going to pressure Sylar back, completely out of mana. The slow comes out of MMY, but Ferrari still has that haste turn. Doesn't have a refraction up, so is going to reconsider the dive, but at the very least, forcing Sylar back pretty defensively. And with the courier going top lane, no bottle crow for Sylar. Ferrari comes in, his refraction's back up, gets the trap vision, comes around the tower, the silence goes out, and Ferrari, I think, still enough of this haste to be able to get out of here. The coil does end up being dropped by Yao. There is a meld. Starts trying to bottle up in the meantime, but the stomp from Faith finishes the kill. No questions asked. So, once again, the Medusa's life is traded away for the Templar Assassin. TA gets the first kill, but LGD's supporting cast ends up benefiting quite a bit from the Templar Assassin's death, and overall trade does actually end up favoring LGD, who are trailing slightly on both of those metrics. Meanwhile, Chizbug once again looking for some success on this bottom lane as they come in looking for this dive. In July does manage to sidestep that Ice Path. Standing in the middle of the Macropyre, going to stampede his way out. MMY lands. Just throwing out the concussive shot, but both of these heroes too tanky for him to kill by himself. Cavalry is arriving on bottom lane as Ferrari is also TP'd his way down here. Faith considering rounding the corner. We've got some pings going out. June continuing this dive. They're looking towards MMY. The trap slow comes out along with the Ice Path. MMY are going to continue to try and juke. Nice stomp. Opens up some space. June gets silenced. Mystic Flare gets dropped, but he's already on the retreat out. There's Tranquil Boots helping him quite a bit. Faith once again finds himself isolated by Luo. But this time around, he's got a little bit more health to work with. He's got to stomp in a second. With that 650 move speed Lycan should be able to dodge it just fine. Still crits him down. And Luo on to the next. Looks towards Yao. Realizes that he's going to jump back to safety. Overall exchange ends up being 2 kills in favor of IG. Evening things up 7-7. It looks like they might even be able to get a tier 1 tower out of the deal as well. Luo coming down here, and no one even close to being in position from LGD to try and prevent that one going down. In July is just going to run mid and work on his blink. Meanwhile, top lane, Burning just going to trade back and forth, a little bit of harassment with Sylar. He does have a bottle picked up, which suggests maybe an early BKB in the item progression for him this game, which definitely makes sense. Against the Puck and the Centaur, Lincoln Sphere not really going to do too much for you there, so I think the bottle probably a pretty solid choice. Yeah, orbing forward, has a Dream Coil, looks towards Luo, Stampede coming in. They've got the Stampede slow out as well, and now MMY comes in with the Mystic Flare. Nice, easy kill picked up. Looks like LGD popped off a smoke for that one as well, but ends up paying dividends as they find that kill. Meanwhile, Jakiro did survive that previous engagement, so starting to cobble together a bit of farm. Looks like just going to be an early Yule Scepter for him. Pretty stock standard, no big surprises. Good to have it to potentially counter-initiate against the Puck and the Centaur, and always great for setting up kills with the Macropyre. In July, just trying to grab some creeps and drag them around so that he can finish this Blink Dagger. Sylar camping at the 10-minute rune. Finds himself a haste, so he's got a get-out-of-jail-free card waiting for himself right now. Ferrari actually doesn't have a lane to farm at the moment, so he's just going to make his way straight over into the Ancients and clear those out. Still working towards his drum. And could probably just be a... probably just early BKB Yasha for him this game. Same kind of story as what the Weaver is working towards. Yao, having gone through Phase Boots and Bottle, still going to take him a little while to get to his Blink, but he's got a free lane of farm down here, so I think he should be okay. And that Blink Dagger is now up on the Centaur. Skywrath Mage ultimate primed and ready to go, so expect to see a rotation right now out of Injulai and MMY. In terms of the warding, what do LGD see right now? They see the Templar Assassin on mid, they see Burning farming top, he's been doing that for a while. And that's pretty much all the information they have to work with. Looks like Burning is going to end up being the target as they swing topside. Vlad's already completed for the Lycan. He's just off to the side, but I don't think he can save Burning if he ends up being jumped here. The Silence comes in, but the Stomp is a little bit off the mark. Burning now coming in, looking for the turnaround, realizing that he's got this opportunity very, very quickly. MMY in some trouble. Burning ends up being stomped. Can they get the double edge off? They do. They make it a 1-for-1. MMY brought down. Luo pausing for a second there, maybe microing some wolves. Looks like he is still going to get away safely as one last tower shot is going to pursue him out. 1-for-1 the exchange. They fortunately find Burning, which is the kill that they were looking for, and losing MMY in the trade. Not the worst thing. Ferrari does get some good damage done on the tier 1 tower mid lane as he gets his drum delivered, so not completely an LGD favorite exchange, but still looking pretty good. In July, will once again make his way towards top lane. Trying to make as much use of this Blink Dagger as he possibly can. His team freed up 11 minutes of easy farm for him, and now he's trying to pay it back as best he can. Got 2 points up in the natural order. Quite a bit of burst damage available for Faith here. Looking for the Stomp. Faster reactions from Chizbug as he gets out the stun. Stomp threatened just to open up a little bit of space between the Dire and the Radiant here. Ferrari once again finds his way over to the Ancients, just to try and snag some extra farm. And June just placing his Observer Ward out of range of the sentry that just dewarded the ward that they had over here just earlier. But Ferrari and Loa talked about the Roshan potential of this lineup, and they're kind of different. I mean, there's very little way that you know that this is happening. It's only 2 heroes off the map. They've been off the map forever anyway. Ferrari farming Ancients, along with Lycan farming the jungle, so the jungle being empty now is a little bit of a clue, but Roshan's already dead. Faith stomping up top lane, just going to go for a TP out. Burning and Chizbug going to have to wait and watch as he leaves. That second point in the stomp, I think, actually saving his life there, because it does give him enough time to get away and not get fire blasted. There was vision from the Weaver bug in the midst of all of that, so Jakiro ends up going down on mid lane, getting a little bit closer to his Yules. The Aegis is going to be passed over to Ferrari. Burning 1k gold up, just some treads completed for him, but top 3 of the net worth is actually all of IG's heroes right now. They're leading by 4k gold and 2k experience, so really outdoing LGD on the economy, and Injulai going to continue to try and turn things here. Swarm does, I think, just barely connected him. The Stomp coming out manages to catch Burning and Chizbug. 2-for-1 special there for LGD. Stampede also going to be used just to ensure the retreat, as Yao makes his presence known on this top lane. He's got a coil ready. Burning, heading down into the river, wants to refill his bottle off the 14-minute rune, but Luo's also made his way in, and I think Ferrari has a TP available, so We need to be a little bit careful. Once again, it's Sylar, the target here on mid, trying to decide how to get out of here. Just going to pop his ultimate and walk back casually. MMY also TPing in just in case. Yao wants to try and go for something top lane if he can, but also doesn't want to die this close to his Blink Dagger. So probably have some peaceful farming up here, at least for the next 30 seconds or so. And Luo is, as anticipated, working straight towards that Necrobook right now. Sylar, not a whole lot of item progression. Treads, Aquila, Bottle. Ferrari once again coming in for the dive. Just driving back the Medusa every single time he has the opportunity. And there's your Blink Dagger for the pucks. So hopefully for LGD they can start moving around and finding some pickoffs. Nice D-ward from Faith is actually going to catch both an Observer and a Sentry there. So things looking good on that front. Chizbug and June ready to counter push. On top lane, Macropyre and Ignite going to make it very difficult for LGD to push in here at all. And they're just going to keep on farming. Ferrari actually back behind the tier 1 tower on mid. He really wants this kill on Sylar, and he knows the ultimate is still on cooldown, at least for now. Comes in, Stampede comes out, he just needs one more auto attack. The phase move speed is not enough, but he's still diving deep. Another TP coming in, but one more auto attack finishes the kill. Ferrari silenced, and it looks like it will be the same old story once again, as he gets caught trying to fight this one out, getting some beautiful Psyblades hits. And Yao and Faith might not be able to stick around. Earthsplitter's going to come out, does manage to drag Ferrari back. They've got the Spirit scouting this up onto the high ground, the silence is there, and we will once again have the Medusa traded away for the Templar Assassin. But it's just space created from Ferrari. Luo, along with the rest of the gang, are going to be able to take out that tier 1 on top. And Chizbug even going to come down here. Unfortunately, he puts an Observer right next to the Sentry that they were using to kill Ferrari earlier, so not the most heads-up play there. Burning. No damage item. Comes in for a little bit of harassment here on Injuly. I don't think he finds his kill. Does manage to sidestep the stomp. No Shikuchi damage from that one, however. Injuly is going to end up living. But it is once again just a distraction, IG. Another tier 1 tower taken on mid. Jakiro with his Yule Scepter up. And LGD haven't really been able to do anything with their Blink Daggers for the last couple of minutes. Centaur is making good progress towards Force Staff. And they do still have all of their tier 2s up, and the late game to look forward to. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom just yet, but IG are doing a really good job of establishing map control and then taking full advantage of everything that they have right now. Luo's at Ancient, 2 heroes in the jungle, June's ready to push top if it gets pushed in, even Burning and Chizbug down in the Radiant jungle, taking as much farm as they can and keeping the bottom lane pushed out. So being very efficient with their time right now, and it's showing up in the net worth and the experience. 7.5k the gold lead, and 4k the experience advantage. Still 2 tier 1 towers up on the dire side, so potential gold for LGD a little bit further down the line, but at least for now, hanging on to a pretty substantial advantage. And this Lycan is actually getting pretty out of control. Jungle Lycan from level 1. LGD looks like just couldn't really do anything about it, and now he's number 1 on net worth. Stomp is going to catch out June. They're going to try and find this kill on Jakiro. Injuly jumps in with the Stomp. Mystic Flare dropped as well, just to make sure of that one, as MMY grabs his 7th kill of the game. I don't know if this farm is the best allocated on the Skywrath Mage, but hopefully he can at least find something to do with it. Yao eats a huge melt hit and actually ends up jumping onto the cliff. Orb not quite far enough away, but Blink Dagger is going to be fine to get him down to the low ground. And Ferrari looks like never going to miss out an opportunity to farm some Ancients this game. Just keeps on moseying around, finding farm where he can, and he's even going to leave the disrespectful full HP little creep in the camp, just to add insult to injury for LGD. In July and Yao, we're really hoping that somebody's going to come and try and stop this top lane from pushing in, but I don't think IG have any such ambitions. They're actually just going straight for bot. Hal popped off, there's the Necrobook. Lycan Wolf going to try and do a little bit of scouting. Tower is dropping low, but Yao and Injuly both still up on the top side of the map. IG don't know that, however, so they're just going to back off safely. Meanwhile, Roshan just being scouted up by a trap. Another 2 minutes to a potential respawn there. Templar Assassin, maybe the target here on mid. Now in July, trying to agree on what they're going to do here. Ferrari runs up onto the high ground, but he does have refraction charges available. Ice Path counter initiation. Yao in some trouble. The Force Staff away. Looks like it might save him, but the Desolator TA gives chase. Yao won't be able to blink. That Liquid Fire doing work, and unable to phase shift the final auto attack. Ferrari with that haste turn punishes LGD for their impudence and finds that kill. And now it's June coming straight in. Yules into the Ice Path. Chizbug with the follow-up stun. Ferrari right around the corner finds that kill. MMY gonna try for the TP out, but one more auto attack finishes it up. It's a triple kill for Ferrari, and it's a rout for LGD. Gets blown up for the Ultra. Sylar, the only one alive, just doing his best to push out bottom lane, but with this Desolator and the Lycan, I don't think this tier 2 on mid lane is long for this world. And Ferrari is going to come down and once again remind Sylar who's boss, defend his tier 1, while his team handles this tier 2 on mid. So IG are now only leading by the 1 kill, but they're up by a ton of gold, ton of experience. Lycan's gonna have his neck for 3 before too long. They can probably take an uncontested second Roshan. Puck actually jumps in for the silence, but it's straight into an Ice Path stun. I don't know what Yao was hoping for there. Wasn't able to get the Dream Coil off. June's just gonna retreat into the tree line and TP himself out. In July also looking for a catch, but won't be able to find anything. Luo gets to see Ferrari's handiwork as he comes in for this Ancient Dragon. But IG get out, absolutely fine. Ferrari's actually picked up a Blink Dagger. So not at all the build that I thought he was going to be going for here, but like we talked about during the draft, the Templar Assassin is actually a great pick. LGD have no way to strip away refractions, so, well, aside from Mystic Flare. So unless he gets hit by Mystic Flare, then Ferrari is actually just God mode in these fights. And it looks like he's just going to be hounding the Puck, the Elder Titan, and the Skywrath Mage as much as he possibly can. Heck, at this stage he can even start getting pretty close to blowing up the Centaur and the Medusa with a little bit of help. Radiant wards all around the place, but just trying to... Actually, they've spotted this dire observer, but they just haven't actually de-warded it just yet. 2 wards just chilling out over by the bottom rune. Burning does actually end up going for a Lincoln Sphere as the item selection this game, which helps him a lot for split pushing, I guess in particular against the Ancient Seal, but there's so many ways to pop it, and then there's also a bunch of ways that there's a bunch of things that just completely ignore it. AoE silence from Puck, Dream Coil, Hoof Stomp. I don't know how enamored I am with this Lincoln Sphere pickup on the Weaver, especially given that he went for Bottle. Chizbug coming out onto Sylar. Some damage thrown down. Mana Shield eating up a lot of it, however. Still has some bottle sips. Chizbug gonna get blown up. In comes the Mystic Flare along with the Stomp. In July, not gonna overcommit to this one. Still has a Stampede ready to retreat. Burning charges into the midst of this, but he ends up being coiled. Can they burst him down in time? They will be able to. One more swing of the hammer finds that kill. Now Luo stomped down. Can they finish him? Ferrari charges in. Gets the mega kill streak. Cleans up one. There's the double. Takes a little bit of a nap, but he's going to be right back at it. Faith in some trouble. No TP scroll. The meld hit is going to be enough, and it grabs the triple. IG get a huge turnaround after what was looking like an LGD favored fight. And very nicely done there by Ferrari. The last hit on the tower, I believe, ends up going to LGD, but I'm not 100% sure, and well, right as that happens, Roshan's going to pop back up, so Luo and Ferrari straight in there. Less than 10 seconds to take Roshan. Easy peasy. So we now have a blinking, desolating, Aegising Templar Assassin for LGD to deal with. Ferrari's just going off. Meanwhile, Sylar has farmed a first item Manta style. I don't like this item. I'm gonna be real here. I don't like this item on Medusa at all. I think Yasha's fine. Casual Yasha, good farming item. Move speed's great. Medusa's slow. Manta style, not a huge damage upgrade. I think there's enough AoE in this game to clear out the illusions pretty quickly. Ferrari's just going in, no problem. Double kill mid lane. Bursting down both Yao and MMY. Godlike streak picked up. Crystal is added to the inventory, if his damage wasn't obscene already. And Ferrari showing us exactly what he can do When he gets put on a good hero, one of his heroes, when it's well positioned and he gets a good start, magic happens. Sylar heads outside of the base. Force Staff gets him a little bit further in. Stomp by some time, but Ferrari woken up by those illusions. A little bit low on mana, but he's still got the Aegis, so feeling confident. Meanwhile, Luo ratting down on bottom lane. Has the Necrobook going to work. Injali jumps into the midst of all of this, but it's actually just going to drop him straight into an Ice Path. Macropyre, they're working away. Ferrari dives in. Beyond Godlike Streak wants to try and keep this Aegis up if he can. Bloodlust along with the Drum Charge get him outside of the base. Faith looks for the Stomp, but it's way too close. Chizbug solo coil on him, but looks like the team might consider a re-engage. Ferrari jumps in aggressively again with the Blink. MMY brought down by the Wolves. Another Yules up into the air. Do we have an Ice Path? No, just the Dual Breath. Ferrari going to keep on fighting. Aegis ends up dropping as Yao jaunts back into the base. Necro Creeps do end up going down, but IG are going to continue the pursuit. Ferrari goes in. 2 auto attacks to finish off the Medusa. 1 to finish off the Puck. An immediate buyback out of Sylar. Wants to keep this fight going if he can, but he's only got the Elder Titan for backup. Stomp gonna send Burning and June to sleep, but Ferrari's got his Daedalus and he wants blood. Makes his way towards the fountain looking for Sylar. Meld hit comes out. Yao's now respawned. And what can LGD do? They have to get IG outside of the base. Ferrari coming in. Looks towards Faith. Stomp by some time. The Refraction also cooling down. The Silence comes out. This is where Ferrari's vulnerable. What can they do? He's looking to turn it around. The Refraction comes back up. It's God mode for Ferrari. Looks to make his way back in. Injali very low, but Burning is cleaning up on the back lines. It's Yao and the Centaur both brought down. Sylar doing his best, but just getting kited around in circles. Another Ice Path comes out as the Jakiro dodges death one more time, using his Yule Scepter. Ferrari very low, but still alive. And Burning somehow finds himself all the way inside the Radiant base. Will be able to escape. Luo playing some objective-based Dota goes straight for the range Drax on mid. Necrobook off cooldown for the second time in this very drawn-out engagement. Creeps also going to be making their way in down on bot. Luo going to break the coil, but that leads straight into a Mystic Flare, and he will finally be punished for all of his ratting ways, but I don't think IG really care in the slightest. They opened up bottom lane. Melee Barracks is actually almost already down, courtesy of Cardi. And now all IG have to do is wait around, grab a little bit more farm, maybe grab BKBs if they're really worried, look towards a third Roshan for the game, and then just kind of look to close things out. LGD have had this double Blink Dagger up for a while, but we are yet to really see a teamfight where it does all that much. Ninjalai got a couple of successful picks, but he's now 1, 4, and 5. Similar story for Yao, 1, 4, and 6. The scoreline for him. The Skywrath Mage has soaked up all of these kills, but turned the gold over to IG just as quickly as he gets it. 7, 7, and 6, the scoreline for him. And Ferrari, really man of the match so far. 14, 3, and 1 on this Templar Assassin. Can't understate Luo's contributions either. 2, 3, and 11, a much less flashy score to have, but the Lycan pick has worked wonders. It was greedy, but it never got punished, and now they're just kind of marching with Jakiro and Lycan towards victory. Radiant Vision is protecting their side of the map pretty well, but finding farm is a little bit difficult, and yeah, now you have a BKB Daedalus TA to contend with. Meanwhile, Yao just trying to finish up a Yules if he can. Elder Titan is working on a mech. Faith, somewhat interestingly, actually ended up going for a Hand of Midas this game. Didn't talk about that. Pretty common pickup on the ET, honestly. He doesn't really have any core items, and he's normally fine with just Soul Ring Tranquils in the early game. So I'm not opposed to the Hand of Midas, but it has definitely made life perhaps a little bit harder. And Ferrari jumps in on top of Injali. The silence comes out, but there's an immediate BKB response. He blows up one. He looks towards the second. Yule's up in the air. Is only going to buy Faith a couple of seconds. Down he goes beyond Godlike Streak. Ferrari looking to keep on chaining it together. MMY feeling safe underneath his tier 4s, but Ferrari already hammering away at Sylar. Lycan charging down towards bottom lane as quickly as his wolf form can take him. We get the silence out onto June. He's eating all the spells for now. Mystic Flare a little bit off the mark, but they still find that kill. Burning now has the space to open up and jump in along with Ferrari beyond Godlike Streak. Extended Burning does get stone formed and will be brought down. Buyback from the Skywrath Mage. It's 2 against 1 at the moment. Nice Manta style dodge from Sylar. It's going to force Ferrari to back out, but Luo once again knows exactly what he's doing, charges straight down bot, picks up that lane of racks, and I think IG might even just keep going right in towards mid. MMY knows that Ferrari's blink is on cooldown at least for a little bit, but perhaps not long enough. Okay, never mind. Okay, I guess IG did actually lose 2 heroes there, so gonna have to play a little bit defensively. Lua gets stomped, but straight into the wolf form, and away he goes. Melee barracks brought down by the wolves on mid lane, and now all IG has to do is go and clean up this tier 2 on top. And that's pretty much it. AC almost completed for your Lycanthrope. Ferrari, if he wants another item, he can grab it, but at this stage it's a little bit over, I would say. Over 20k net worth, over 20k experience in IG's favor. Weaver even buying a Diffusal Blade. I think just to help burn down the Medusa a little bit. And we do now have a Scotty up on Sylar, but with the Necrobook and the Diffusal Blade, I think he's actually in for a bit of a hard time. So, what can LGD do? They've still got smokes. They've still got pick-off potential. I don't know if they can win team fights anymore against the BKB Templar Assassin. And all they can kind of hope is that they can keep farming up and get this Medusa into a good position. She's right in the middle of all of these IG heroes on the net worth. And her initiators are falling behind little by little, but still have to keep at least a spark of hope alive for the late game potential of the Medusa here. IG coming in towards top. Ferrari just rounding the corner, looking for some additional pickoffs. Might know that MMY is in the vicinity. Sylar straight into the Manta style. Ferrari pops the BKB right onto MMY. It's only 2 hits. That's all it's going to take. Ferrari is isolated from his team right now, and the Earth Splitter does manage to catch him out, bring him down. That streak is going to end up being claimed, but this opens up the space for his team to charge straight in here. Yao already finished off by Burning Faith. Next on the list is Luo also joins the fray. The Diffusal Blade slow comes out, and Sylar is going to get multicast down. Double kill for Burning. Attempted TP out from In July, just lurking in the trees, but Yule Scepter puts an end to that one. He gets kited around in circles and finished off. Triple kill for the Weaver. Luo once again right onto the buildings, joined by June, and looks like that is going to be it. GG called by MMY, and IG will actually keep their hopes alive to end with a top 4 finish here in the group. This is going to better their result to 2 and 3 overall, and LGD from a very clean 3 and 0, actually going to end the day at 3 and 2. So things are heating up. We've only got 1 day of play remaining, and it seems like there's still plenty of teams looking to make their bid for that top 4 here in Star Series Season 11 China group stages. Thank you very much for watching, guys. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Basskip. If you'd like to support me at all, you can find me on all the usual social media sites under the name of Basskip. You can leave me feedback as well if you'd like. You can email me at baskipdota@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'm still shaking off some rust from not having done a whole lot of casting recently, so your feedback is definitely appreciated, and I'm more than willing to take on board anything that you guys have to say to me. So otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow the stream if you enjoyed it as well. Not much else to say. Maybe stick around, watch some ads, something like that. I'm starting to lose it a little bit, so I'm going to wrap it up right here. Hopefully be back tomorrow for the last 4 best of ones for the group stage here for Star Series Season 11 China groups. And I'll see you then. I think there's some other good Dota starting up before too long as well, so if you're keen to keep on watching, then what is on? So there's some iLeague going on right now that you can go and tune into if you're a fan of SEA Dota. Otherwise, there is the ES Portal Dota 2 League kicking off in about an hour's time. That's going to be Empire versus Powerade.